Welcome back, guys. Today is quite a big episode. We'll be looking at actually utilizing the NFT contract that we deployed in the previous episode, and actually importing all that information into Unity. So let's not waste any time, right? Let's get straight into it. So last time we deployed this, we deployed our Windows XP ball. We created the JSON for it, and we also pinned our JSON file to the IPFS, right? So that's all done and sorted. Now within Remix, we can mint in Unity, but for convenience sake, let's mint this token. Actually, no, not let's mint. Let's set the URI for this token within here. So you'll see that there's a function called set token URI, which you can call in Unity. And if you have a bit of experience and you've been using the guide that I've got on the channel as well, you might recognize that this is just another write method, and you can quite literally just call it to set the token URI dynamically within Unity. But to make it easy, what we can do is, after we pin our IPFS file, we can click on this arrow, which of course should give us this. Copy your link, so copy the URL, this one here, that we'll get back after we pin the CID to the IPFS. And then within Remix, we want to actually set this URI for the token ID that we want to make use of. So the token ID here, especially with ERC 1155, it's not like 721 where the token ID will increment every time you mint, because it's not a one of one, it's a one of many sort of scenario. So this specific skin will have a token ID of 1, right? So let's transact that. We'll wait for it to pop up. We'll go cool, and we'll just give it a moment. There we go. All right, so now if we scroll down, you should see a URI option here. If we click on this and just enter 1, it's going to check token ID 1 and return the URI for that token. In this case, it's our ChainSafe IPFS URL. That's exactly what we want. If you've got like 100 different tokens, each one might have a different URI, and you might just have to set a different URI for each skin, weapon, character, and so forth, and so forth, and so forth. However, there probably are better ways of doing it Solidity side. I'm just not smart enough to know how to do that, but that's okay. Let's move on. So back into Unity, we can go to the NFT Pixels folder, we can go to the scripts folder, the blockchain scripts, and now we'll be digging into NFT. Now, the NFT folder is the last bit that we need to build onto this game in order for it to become a fully fledged Web3 game. Now, this is also the biggest part of this tutorial. Maybe you've looked around at some of these scripts, but the NFT manager is one of the biggest scripts we'll be dealing with in this game. So again, I'll just choose the event system because easy to just keep everything here. I'll drag a script in here, and immediately you'll see that, dang, there's a lot going on here. So let's just do a few things here, right? Let's go through it. Now, the NFT manager, I've tried programming this or coding this in a way where it's going to be, let's see if I can do this. I've tried programming this in a way where it's as dynamic as possible so that you guys can actually use the editor instead of having to go into the code. But in saying that, the code has also been commented on quite a bit. So again, you're welcome to change information there. But let's go through this manager. Now, the in-game marble object will be the marble object. When you fill or we just add these game objects, which I'll do in a moment, it's quite literally just clicking on the dot here and selecting the game object that matches the name. So we've got the marble, we've got the raw image, we have our mint button, which can be found within the customization screen, the apply button, which will come in handy after we actually own the NFT, our token UI elements, so stuff like the token price, the token name, the token description, and pretty much this dynamically updates based on the token ID that you pass right here. So you can, without even like touching the code, like let's say for instance we're gonna mint token ID 1. So if you go back here and you chose to create token ID 1, or you minted token ID 1 and whatnot, you can go back into Unity and then go, okay, cool, well look, I just set up this URI for token ID 1. I want to check that token, in which case you would add a big ol' number 1 in here. that's kind of what you would do. And then the rest of the script will check token ID 1, pull the URI for token ID 1, and so forth and so forth. And of course, last but not least, how much do you want to charge for people to be able to buy that skin? So the script itself will then take into consideration your custom token balance, name, and currency type. So this is all from the fetch token script again, going all the way back to where we fetched the token data. It's going to use that information, and then it's going to charge whoever wants to buy your skin in your custom currency before they'll be able to mint the NFT. So let's go ahead and assign some values, right? So I can go marble. Oh, actually, sorry. What we'll need to do, apologies, I should probably be a little bit clearer on this. Within the creator kit, there are prefabs. I believe there are prefabs. In the prefabs folder, there's a 1 per level folder. Go to your 1 per level folder. And then, if I'm not mistaken, the marble prefab is right here. So we want to drag this marble prefab into the marble game object, and then our raw image, we can click on this here. Man, why are there so many things? Every time I think it's going to be super simple, it's not, because there's so much happening. Let's have a quick look and see. Okay, so it's called NFT canvas. So when we go to a raw image, it's the NFT canvas, and then the mint button is just the mint button. The apply button is just the apply button. The token price is just the token price. The token name is just the token name, and the token description is just the token description. And this boolean here is going to dynamically set yay or nay once we start validating, but validation will come in maybe in the next episode. I'll see how the script reacts without the script here. But we just want to specify that we want to check token ID 1, and we want to charge something like 2,500 balls for someone to mint this token. So fingers crossed, what should happen, if we click play, it should pull in the NFT information, but I could be wrong. We'll see what happens. Okay, well, look at that. That's excellent. Now, I know this is like super tiny, so what I'm going to try to do here is just zoom this in. Give me a moment. Pause that. Okay, so this is pretty cool. So within the script, which we'll go through in a minute, I've done a whole bunch of debugging. So you'll be able to see exactly what's happening in the debug log. So as soon as we start the game, you'll see that it attempts to call the smart contract method for the token URI. Where's my pencil? Let's see if I can grab a pencil instead. Yeah, for the smart contract URI. It also tells me that I don't own the skin, which makes sense. I don't own token ID 1. I haven't minted it yet. This is our token URI. That might look familiar. That's actually quite literally this URL here, or yeah, this one right here. If I go back to Paint, it's going to attempt to deserialize that token URI, and look at that, it deserialized it just fine. The token name is Windows XP, which is right like this. I'll move this to the side. The token description, a classic error of balls. The token image URL, which is the Newegg image. And then of course the token score multiplier, which is 5. So I pulled all that information in just from this URI. And I'm hoping that this will start to kind of like make sense now, where you can create absolutely anything that you want for your NFTs or your on-chain assets. It can be crazy, it can be wild, it doesn't matter. Because when you deserialize it, it all comes into play here off-chain, and you can use it. So let's go ahead, we'll just close this off. Go back to Unity. And you'll also see that it actually will attempt to download the texture and apply it. So what happens? Look at that. That's pretty cool. So it's effectively taken your token. I'll just pause it again. Effectively taken your token. It's effectively taken your token now, deserialized it, took the image URL that we chose and applied it to this raw canvas here, took the name and applied the metadata name to the name here, description there, and of course we can't do the price yet because we need another script for it. So okay, that's fine, that's all good. We need the actual like mint script in order to do that. But for the most part, what we've done here is we've actually created a skin or an option for someone to mint to apply that to their ball. So in the next episode, we'll look at validation. We'll look at token validation. Do I own the token? If I don't own the token, what do we do from there? What do we go from there? But for now, let's go back to the script. Let's just review this together and go through it. So this is a pretty big boy script, but we'll go through in pieces. All of this, again, you can ignore most of this. This really is just the editor side of things where you fill stuff in to make it super easy. The real magic here happens. Where is it? There we go. So the first thing we do is we actually call the token balance. If we go back to Remix, we're calling the balance off. We want to know how much of token ID 1 the connected wallet is holding. So if I go back into my script here, let me just find it. You'll see we actually do this. We're saying, okay, the token ID is the token to check, which is the token you guys specify on the front end using the editor. Then the account is the connected wallet that you get while connecting your wallet to the game, which is all the way back to the login script. And hopefully by now this is repetitive enough that it makes sense that we again build our contract. But this time around, we use the NFT ABI and the NFT contract, not the token. So you keep changing based on which contract you want to interact with. And of course, we just create a variable for balance off. We do a contract call because we're reading, not writing. We're calling the balance off. The arguments for this is, of course, account, which is the player preference, the account, and we pass the token ID as an integer to the blockchain. Of course, we then return a response string, and then the balance of response string will say, is it 0 or is it 1? To be a little bit more accurate here, we actually pass that string into an integer. So you'll see that we pass that response string into an integer called token balance, and that's just a classic old school if else statement. If a token balance is less than 1, it means we do not own this token, and we set a boolean to false. However, if it's more than 0, we do own the token, in which case we set it to true. And we'll use this in the next episode as well for validation to change off-chain logic based on on-chain validation. But we'll stop this episode here. It's already enough to digest. But I'm really hoping that you guys learned a lot here. If you liked it, please like and subscribe. If you've got any questions, drop questions. I'm here to help you guys. It's seriously a pleasure to do this. So just let me know. And thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next episode.